The next part here is an explanation of this program. Whether you want to listen to this or go through this by yourself is a matter of taste. Some people like to get a top level view of things, even if not all the terms are totally defined, but to sort of see the landscape. Other people don't like to have terms that aren't fully explained and want to work up from the bottom and figure they'll find out all the connections later. So if you want to work up from the bottom, we're going to do that after this. But first, this section I do, for those who like to get a top view, have an explanation. So this is the actual program, the source code, as it's called, for the MadLib program. Okay? And it starts, this thing with triple quotes here, is a multi-line string. That's just text. And it's interpreted as documentation for the program, and it says who I got this idea from. Now, beyond this, we have another multi-line string, but this multi-line string you see before it has story format equal. The equal sign is an assignment. This is now saying story format is a name for this big string of text. And this big string of text has a sort of special format. You will notice all the braces with words in the middle of them. This is in the form of a format string, which we're going to use later to do substitutions into. After this, we have def. Def is short for define. And so this heading and the part indented after it is a definition where we give a short name for it, just tell story. But when we ask for the program to tell story, it actually does all of the lines of code after this. The first line here is another assignment statement. So UserPix is a name that is now associated with a dictionary. We will see is a way to look up things. And this is a way of creating an empty dictionary. The second line of tell story here, and the third and the fourth here, you see I have a similar format. AddPick is not something that is predefined in Python. It is another function name, which we're going to define shortly. And we'll discuss the details of it, but you'll notice the animal, food, and city that were used in the program. What AddPick does is specify a word here and then prompts the user for a value to be associated it, and the combination goes in the dictionary to be used later. Once we have all the associations of animal, food, and city with words that the user picks, the next thing is that we take the story format, remember up here, this string of characters, and this dot format says to do an operation called format on that string. And what the format operation does is, when given as a parameter here the dictionary user picks, it uses the definitions in the dictionary to substitute for all the places we've got the words that are being defined there. And that's basically the main thing that happens in the program. And then we print the resulting, this is also, an assignment. The result I call story. And then finally, this is what it looks like. Print this story string to the screen, and that's what you finally see. All right. Then the last function defined is the AddPick that we've already referred to above, and now here are the details. Again, I've got a triple quoted multi-line string here that is documentation for this function. Now, this function is more like a traditional function in math. It has parameters here, Q and dictionary. And you notice where I use it up here, there are also two parameters. And so here, Q is going to be a name we're going to use for the word that's here. And of course, user picks in this case is always going to be the dictionary. So the first time we call this, the Q is animal, and always the dictionary is user picks. The actual lines inside the definition, this creates the prompt that you're going to see on the screen. You'll notice these strings delimited by single quotes here, which is one option. And we can plug the Q, animal or city or whatever, in the middle with plus signs, just makes one big long string. And then I use this prompt with the input function, which is a built-in function in Python, and it prompts the user with the prompt, and you saw these things on the screen. The user, as we did, gets then to enter a response, and the response is returned to be the value of this function, and this assignment statement then assigns it to the name response. And this, of course, is the response to a particular Q. So this line here adds to the dictionary associated with the word Q, essentially the definition that is the response. And so with multiple uses of this, we fill our dictionary and can use it then to generate the story with substitutions. All of this up here is just definitions. It's saying how to do these things. It's not until we get down here, this line here is not inside of a definition. This says actually do it. Tell story, which means go up and do the lines that are defined in the tell story function. And then finally, this was just because we wanted it to see the results in the end of Windows. We have another input function here. In this case, I don't care what it returns. This just makes the computer wait until you type something. And we're done. And this is all of this broken up in little pieces. Oh, one thing you may see if you bring this up in idle, at the moment, I think Windows introduced a change that broke a piece of Python 3.1 and 3.2. The actual code is slightly different here. I've got an extra kludge in here to fix a bug that is due to be formally fixed in Python on May 22nd, Sunday, 2011, a couple of weeks here after I'm speaking this.